So, what if saying "I was just kidding" to your partner could actually get you into legal trouble? It sounds a little wild, right? Well, that's the exact idea at the center of a pretty provocative new conversation happening around marriage laws. Today, we're going to explore how the lines between a private fight and a legal problem might just be getting a whole lot blurrier. The source material we're looking at today really doesn't pull any punches. It kicks off with this really stark warning. Be alert and be warned. And this isn't just about some minor legal tweak. It's a huge signal that the fundamental rules of our most personal relationships could be about to change. And this quote right here, this is the heart of the whole thing. That classic escape route, hey, I was just kidding. Well, it might not be a get-out-of-jail-free card anymore. The suggestion is that this seemingly harmless little phrase could lose all its power, and that would totally change how we handle arguments in our relationships.
Okay, so let's dive into our first big question. Could a joke, a simple joke, actually become a crime? We're about to look at how some behaviors you might think are totally normal in a relationship could soon be seen through a whole new and very legal lens.
And just so we're clear, this is not some abstract theoretical debate we're having. If you're married or even thinking about getting married, this conversation is 100% about you. The source puts it in this great way. It's for anyone who has eaten the laddu of marriage. So here's the real takeaway. Navigating a modern partnership might not just be about being emotionally smart anymore. The source is arguing that it now demands that you're legally smart too. Understanding the rules of the game is becoming just as important as understanding each other.
All right, let's get specific. What exactly are we talking about here? What kind of everyday things could be considered a crime under a framework like this? Well, the source points out several behaviors that could cross that line from being a private issue to a legal one.
Okay, now this list from the source is where things get really, really interesting and controversial. We're talking about things like staring, or using a threatening tone of voice, or even just casually bringing up other relationship options. And get this, it even includes thinking about hitting someone. Now, the big question there is, how on earth could you ever prove something like that in court? I mean, these are things most of us would just see as part of a private conflict, not criminal offenses.
And this quote just perfectly sums up the stakes. The source is warning that the line between a simple argument and a massive legal headache could become razor thin. A single text message sent in anger, one heated comment, these things could end up having really serious, lasting consequences.
Which, of course, brings us to the core debate. Is the whole point of a law like this to offer real protection to people who are in truly vulnerable situations? Or could it backfire and accidentally create a whole new world of problems?
So let's break down the two sides here. On the one hand, you could see these laws as a really powerful tool, something to protect people from those subtle kinds of emotional or psychological harm that often fly under the radar. But on the other hand, and this is a big one, there's a serious risk. Could these laws be misused? Could they just become a weapon to gain leverage in a divorce or lead to a spike in false complaints? It's that classic dilemma, good intentions versus potentially messy outcomes. And that brings us to the end of our breakdown. The source doesn't leave us with answers. Instead, it leaves us with some really challenging questions to chew on. The goal here isn't to tell you what to think, but to get you thinking about what the ripple effects of laws like this could really be.
So, first big question for you. Will laws like this actually make homes more peaceful places to be? Or is this an area where maybe the law just can't, and maybe shouldn't, get involved?
Next up, let's think about the main goal. Could laws like this offer real, meaningful protection for everyone, both men and women who might be suffering from those less obvious forms of abuse? And finally, here it is, the big trade-off. Is the potential for more protection worth the risk of misuse? In trying to solve one problem, could we end up accidentally creating another one? A problem of false accusations and weaponized complaints?
The source ends with a challenge. Talk about these ideas. Share them. Especially, it says, with anyone you know from the I was just kidding tribe. Look, this is a super complex issue with no easy answers. It's all about balancing the real need for protection against the potential for going too far. Ultimately, the biggest question is, where do we as a society draw the line between what's a private matter and what's a public one? So, what do you think?